Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back. I'm voiceovering probably the first half of this video. I had a few people up in the shop with me today. My father was there hanging out watching TV, and a couple of friends. And instead of, kind of putting everything on hold for those guys just to do a video, I said, well, I'll do my assembly and voiceover. So I'll pop in and out here and explain some stuff that I'm doing. I may kind of speed some sections along, whatever I feel I need to do. And towards the end of this first part, I lost a little bit of footage. And once I started recording again, I'll explain what happened. Yeah, so right here, I was just using a scalpel to clean up some of that excess gasket on the inside. I wanted to make sure that it didn't interfere with the cylinder once I put it on. And I did do a base gasket delete on this. So I'm just using some of the Moto Seal or the gray RTV fuel resistant stuff. And I'm just putting a thin layer on with my finger. Not super thin, but a little bit thicker than what I put on the case halves, just to get it sealed up. I'm just getting ready to slip the cylinder on top of the piston here. And anytime I do that, I make sure and get a nice coat of two-stroke oil around the ring and up around the cylinder all inside, just so when I go to assemble that thing, it's not dry. Just hindsight here. If I was thinking about it, I should have bolted in the plastic plate between the case halves first and then bolted the intake boot onto the cylinder before I put it onto the piston. It would have made life a lot easier. I was able to get it without pulling that cylinder back off, so it all worked out in the end. Just starting the assembly of the clutch side here, putting the oiler in. Don't forget to drop your oil line in the tank. And as you're putting your oiler on, make sure you put the copper line or brass line that feeds your oil slot for your bar. I put this all together, forgot to put that line in, and had to pull half of my brake parts back out. Just, something that I missed putting it back together, and it happens. So just a heads up on that one. Try to remember where everything goes in the sequence that it comes apart, and it'll be easier when you're putting it back together. Just putting that oiler drive worm gear back in. Make sure you put a little grease on the threads there on the screw for that drive. This is where we start getting the brake components in. That's that plastic bushing for the main spring for your brake. That just snaps down into the frame, and then this little plastic piece here with the spring on it, that actually is what is pushing your arm back and forth. So when you do put that in, you'll see how you have to kind of pull back on that, and then the arm will seat all the way down. When I'm putting this band on, it can be a little bit difficult to get that spring to go in, especially if the brake is locked back in the rear position. So I always leave it in the sprung position, which would take the most pressure off the spring. And you can do it just by sticking your T-wrench or your saw wrench in the back of that spring, pushing it forward, and then seating it down. And you'll see here, I grab a screwdriver and pull that plastic piece out, so the brake arm will actually go down in. If you don't do that and you try to bolt your side cover on the plastic piece and tighten your screws up, you'll crack it and break it, because that arm is actually not in position all the way. So just make sure and keep an eye out for that. So we pretty much got the brake side buttoned up. All those components are in. That's a neat little trick right there. Just use your saw wrench to set the handle back. When you don't have your plastic handle on, you don't have a lot of leverage. Just one thing that I do, found an easy way to get that thing to kick back, open up the spring so you can get your clutch and your clutch bell on. Be sure that your clutch is facing the right direction. On this one in particular, there's some small notches, and it's stamped with the word off on it. Make sure that's facing out. If you stick it on the other side, upside down, you don't have those notches, so when you want to try to take that back off, you won't have anything to tap against. All right, guys, seems like I lost a little bit of footage. My plan today was to record this video of putting this thing back together, trying to show you as much as I could. I had people in here today, and TV was on. My father was up here hanging out and stuff, so I was just gonna voice over some of it, and then I ended up my storage was full. I've done this entire channel from my phone, okay? And I think I'm at the point now where I need to actually buy a laptop. So I haven't had one in years. Just started looking up tonight, you know, what I should get for a computer and stuff like that, and probably gonna get maybe a GoPro or two so I can get, you know, different angles and stuff. But anyway, I lost a bunch of footage, not a ton, but some, of putting this thing back together. I think you guys got to see pretty much all of it. What I'm gonna do at this point is get the handle back on. I just put the fuel line in, and I probably should have videoed that for you guys that haven't done it before. Pretty easy. All I do is slash cut the end of my fuel line, and then I take a small piece of wire, stick it into the saw towards the fuel fill, and then slip the gas line onto the wire, pull it back towards the hole in the saw, and then once I have that slash cut piece sticking through, I just grab it with a small pair of pliers, pull it the rest of the way, and then cut off the excess. So right now I'm just going to work on putting this handle in, and I really don't think I lost too much footage for you guys, you know, putting this thing back together, but we'll we'll keep going with it, and we'll see how far we can get tonight. So now in the back here, I've got my throttle linkage. I've got my kill switch to ground wire that has to be grounded to the chassis, and then I've got the wire from the coil coming back. And this is another reason why I want to kind of upgrade a little bit and get some more cameras so I can get some better angles for you guys. I know watching me do this stuff right here from this view isn't the best, but it's really the only setup I have right now. Eventually I'd like to get a camera up above. It would be a little easier, I think, for everybody to see what's going on. But for right now, I'm going to try to get all this stuff hooked up and get the handle put back in. So I'm going to poke my fuel line up through right here. I'm going to take my throttle linkage cable wire and poke that through. There's a little rubber boot on the other side here that it came out of. Let me see. All of this is just kind of tedious, close work that is really just, you know, a pain sometimes. That's where your little needle nose pliers come in handy. There we go. So fuel line, throttle cable. I've got my one last little kill switch wire that's got to get wired back through the side so I can ground it to the chassis. And I'm sure that there's easier ways to do some of this. I just go about it the best way I know how. A lot of it is trial and error, even for me. It's not like I'm in these saws every single day, and you know, I probably forget more than I remember when I'm doing this kind of stuff. You know, you get halfway through something and then you remember, oh, that's right, I should have done it like this. You know. There we go. Of course, that had to fight me right to the bitter end. But now that I got that sticking through, I'm going to put the screw right in it so I don't accidentally pull it back out. And I know you guys can't see any of this, but it's just one little Phillips head screw to the chassis to ground that kill switch. Without that, you won't actually ground the saw and shut it off. So, all right, let's see. Okay, both of the kill switch wires are set up. Poke my fuel line back through for the third time. I don't know why I was trying to do that first. It's the shortest thing there. This little casing on your throttle cable will pop out of the trigger a lot of times. You've got to slip that back in and push the casing back in there. All right. And this can sometimes be a little tricky to get the body back in there, so you've got a couple of pins on the inside of the there's a pin on this side of the case that goes and it sticks out, and there's a pocket in the handle that it has to go in, so you just kind of snake it in there. Now, one thing I just realized that I forgot to do, I've got a little rubber bushing here that goes on that plastic pin, and I missed it. So now electrical and everything hooked back up. So this little bushing, I don't know if you guys can actually see that spot or not, but it goes on a piece of the case. There's a little pin there that this handle is going to go back into. Let's see. And I know you guys can't see anything right now, which I'm sorry about, but I just don't have a good way of doing this right now. Alright, did I lose that line? Nope, just broken up. Okay, perfect. Good. Okay. Now I can put that screw back in. Put a mount on this side. Stand it up here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, flip it back over. I'm going to do this one. Okay, tighten that one up. I'm going to get my special odd bolt here. That's going to go in this side, right in that spot. Tighten that up. Go back to this body mount, tighten that one up. Okay, good. Now, got my fuel line in there, that's in place. I'm going to loop this up here. What I'm going to do is reach in. Let's see if I can turn this up here so you guys can see it. I'm going to pull this fuel line up and out. And what that's going to allow me to do is pull this fuel line back just a hair so I can get it on my carb. And that way I have everything I need in the tank. Enough room to allow that filter to swing around in there and always stay at the bottom of the tank. Because if you make it too short or too long for that matter, it won't reach the bottom of the tank and it's not going to flip around where you need it, when you need it, depending on the position that you're using the saw. So, all right. Now, we're all hooked up. We got throttle linkage now. I'm going to make sure that my cable is in my trigger assembly so that the sheathing sometimes pops out of that. I'm just going to push it back like that. Now I've got to stick this back in the linkage right here. Just gonna push back on it like that. There's a slot cut in it. I can pull that forward. Now I'll spin my butterfly around. I'll hook my cable back up. And I should be good to go at this point as far as throttle. There we go. Nice. Perfect. Choke. High throttle lock. That's it. That's everything we need right there. Now, when I did put this back together, one of the things I did that you guys missed footage-wise was I threw the recoil on and I pulled the plug out and put the plug inside the coil wire, and I pulled it over just to make sure that I had sparks. I knew I set my gap right and all that, and I didn't have any issues that were created while it was apart. So I did verify that I had spark. This ring on here, it's going to have to be changed. I just didn't have another one on hand. This is the larger spline. I got a bunch of the small ones, but I'm gonna have to pick up a new ring there for the sprocket drive. So I did buy a full wrap for this saw, and it came with dogs, which I already put on the 72 cc Amazon saw. But I do have another nice set of custom dogs that they're on the front of the 365 now. I'm probably going to put them on this, and then I'll just buy another set for the 365 when I go through that one. I'm not going to be putting the stock muffler back on here. I'm going to make a pipe for it, which hopefully I'll, be able to do a video for you. But I may throw the stock muffler back on just to run it and start it and see what it does. I think I have everything tightened up. I just kind of going back through and verifying everything, checking over all my hardware, making sure that I didn't miss anything or leave anything loose. Unless you're doing something like this start to finish, if you walk away and you come back, you always gotta double check yourself. At least I do, just to make sure. It's some of the things that if I don't, it'll later on I'll be asking myself, did I tighten those screws? You know. So anytime I walk away and got to come back, I like to double check. Pretty sure that I made sure all this was tight, but I'm just gonna check them again anyway, just because I don't trust myself. Yep. Now I did not swap out that decomp. It looked like it was in really good shape. It looks like it functions just fine. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to have any leaks there. I know a lot of guys pull them out, and you know, when they're building the saw and stuff like that. I don't know about you guys, but my shoulders are just destroyed, and I'm gonna take advantage of every opportunity I can for decompression, because my shoulders are not getting any younger, and we'll leave it at that. So yeah, I'll keep the decomps. That's what I like. So all right, I'm gonna put the handle on now, and then we'll put the recoil on, and we'll do the muffler. Maybe we'll do the muffler first. So let me grab that. So here's the can. Nothing special. It's rusted up. It's old looking. I don't really care. We're gonna throw it on here anyway for now until I can make a pipe. Got my bracket over here. Let's see, what do we got for hardware? I've got the 2 bolts that go to the cylinder. I've got 2 bolts that go from the bracket to the muffler, and I've got 2 more bolts that go to the front of the case where the bracket goes. And you know what? I'm not going to use either one of those because they look terrible. So I've got a bag of some hardware here. I think I'm going to go with that, just because I'd rather throw a better screw in than take a chance on screwing up the threads in the case, you know, or in the muffler or anywhere else. Once the thread's stripped, it just becomes a pain. I know I need a couple of shorties here. Those will work. I'd rather not take a chance on wrecking something if I don't have to. So let's get that muffler on. I do have a gasket. The old one was pretty rough shape, but I did get a new one. Oh, one of the things that you guys missed is timing numbers. So I deleted the base gasket and I got it down to 21 thousandths of squish, okay? Now, from everything that I've watched or read or heard, a saw of this CC probably shouldn't go over like, I think it's 154 degrees of timing in the total intake timing. And this one is at 158. That's with the base gasket delete. So with the delete, it's actually going to open a little sooner. So it increased that intake timing. I'm going to see what it does. I don't know what's going to happen. But with the base gasket gone, I got 21 thousandths of squish. The exhaust opens at 99 degrees. And it's got 23 degrees of blowdown, and the total intake timing is 158 degrees. So as far as, like I said, as far as I know, that's not a great intake timing number. It might be too much. It might start spitting or something. I'm not sure. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to try it. We're going to go with it. And if it's no good, then I'll either have to put a gasket back in and then work my exhaust or whatever. But we're gonna try it like this for now and see how it goes. So I got my gasket on there. I've got my plate. We got one started. We'll go for the other one. I'm gonna get all this put up here, but I'm not gonna crank it down until I get that front bracket on. Just kind of give it everything a chance to find its own home. You know, I kind of try to do that with everything. When, at least in my experience, when you assemble something, don't ever start with your first screw and just sock it home. Try to get everything in and lined up, and let everything find its place. Usually things will assemble much easier for you and you're less likely to damage stuff. So like I said, just my experience. Bringing everything down. Got that ball end socket. I need to find my straight 5mm, the one that I throw on my little adjustable to really crank those down. There it is. It's right where I left it. It's the last place I looked. All right, spinning this around. Okay. All right. Get this tightened up here. All right. These videos are going to be kind of long, but if I can't show you like with good footage, at least I can hopefully try to explain to you what I'm doing. And for all you guys that haven't done any of this stuff, the only advice I can have or say to you is just get into it, you know, have fun with it, take pictures, write stuff down, draw diagrams, whatever you got to do to get yourself through it. But none of this is impossible. And you know, a lot of people do it, and some of you that are watching that have done, you know, maybe hundreds of saws or whatever, you know, tell me if you've seen or you know of a better way to do things. I only do what I know because of trial and error and how I've tried to figure it all out on my own and watching other people and stuff like that. So you know, I'm open to all suggestion. I don't do everything right 100% of the time, and I don't claim to. So I'm asking for help too. But all right, I'm gonna grab the handle now. I got the muffler tight, all the brackets tight. It's looking pretty good. We're getting there. Let me get the handle on and make sure I don't have any garbage in there right off the rip. Here we go. Where is it? No, that's a 359 handle. Here it is over here. All right. Let's see. Now on this, they're all short screws except for one long one that goes to the spring mount that's on the cylinder. There again, we'll just get them started. I'm not going to send them home. I'm going to wait until I have everything in place. Those tighten down just a little bit. Not gonna send them. Wait till I get everything kind of lined up here. All right. Whoa. All right, I'm gonna snug up these bottom ones. Side ones. Spring mount. All right. Oh yeah, starting to feel like something. Well, I got cats all over the place in here. All right, so yeah, I put the full wrap on. I don't know if you guys have watched any of my other videos, but if you haven't, I like full wraps. I like that whole idea of being able to stand on one side of the tree when you're cutting. Not that I do a ton of felling or anything like that, but I do like having that handle. Just something that I've kind of really grown to like. So if I can find them, I'll put them on there. This one was cheap, like 40 bucks, came with that big set of dogs. I put them on the Amazon saw. You know, and there's nothing wrong with a regular handle, and where I live in this part of the country, we don't have massive timber that we cut the way they do out west, and you know, but I still like the full wrap handle. I've made some of them, made them for my XL76, made them for some of my McCullochs. I made one. I made modified some to fit other saws. Home Light Super Easy, made a handle for that. You know, I just really like them, and I think a lot of people do. It's just we don't find used saws around here with full wrap handles. They just don't. You know, it's a West Coast thing, but I really like them. So if I can get them, I can find them, I'm going to use them. All right, so now I'm going to throw the recoil on this thing, and I think I want to put some fuel in it. I want to see what it's going to do here. We're gonna throw that recoil on. Yeah, we're missing a little bushing or something around this plastic handle here. You know where those two screws that I replaced? You know where they went originally? That's what was holding the dogs on. And you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's no threads up underneath the head, and that's because those two screws loosened up and the front dog sat there wiggling around until it basically wore all the threads off up under the head. I won't reuse these. I don't want to take a chance on having them damage the threads at all. So yeah, I wish I had a little bushing for that. I'll have to make one, but for now we'll just get it get this recoil cover screwed down. I want to feel what this thing has for compression. Yeah, we gotta have something in there. I'll figure that out. And that's an oddball screw, which I don't really like, but that's all we got for the moment. All right, what do we got? What I got left? I got a chain catch that was on the side here. I don't think I'm gonna put that back on because I have the full wrap now, and that's what this is right here. This piece of basically radiator hose or water hose, they put on these handles before they weld them together, and that's supposed to act as your chain catch on a full wrap. But I did have this little aluminum chain catch that mounted right here. I don't think I'm gonna put that back on. I think I'm gonna leave that right off. And I've got basically 2 screws left to hold my inner dog on. And I'm gonna get those off the 365. Not right at the moment, but I will get those. I got my fuel caps. Fuel and oil caps. They're not in the best of shape, but you can see somebody broke that one sticking a flathead in there because they had it way too tight. I think I'm going to put that on the oil side here. And I'm not going to put any oil in it for the moment. I'm just going to put some gas in it so we can fire it and see what it sounds like. I don't know if those seals are going to hold, but we'll try it out. What do we got? We've got an air filter. This should be replaced. I am going to use it for the moment because it's all I have, but I should get a brand new one for this. My makeshift clip right here. This is one I had to bend up out of a piece of wire. It works all right. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Does the job. Holds it down there pretty good. I do want to get a new filter, and when I do that, I'll probably replace that clip that I made. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pop that back off. I'm going to get smart here because this isn't going to be primed up right away. I'm going to put some fuel in this thing, then I'm going to shoot a little bit down the throat so I can get it started, because I don't want to tear my shoulders up any more than I need to. And that's why I do that. I had a comment, someone didn't understand why I did that. But that is the reason why. A lot of you guys know, working on these saws, whatever you're doing, even just trying to get them started, if they haven't been running a long time, you don't always hold that prime up to the carburetor, and you could pull on them quite a few times before they start. So you know, give them a little shot of fuel down the throat of the carburetor, and it's almost a guaranteed start on the first pull, pending nothing else is wrong. And it might not prime up right away, but at least you know you're going to pull it like one time, and it's usually going to take off. So hopefully that's the case with this one. Let me get some fuel in there. be able to check this, make sure we don't have any leaks. I think we're going to be good. Tank didn't leak before, but I'm more worried about the fuel cap. If I switched them, was one of the gaskets bad? And like I say, I haven't really bought any parts for this other than some bearings and seals. So yeah, I think we're ready to pull this thing over. Give it a little shot in the carb. We'll give it a yank here. Gotta prime up my can. There we go. Push the decomp in. Alright, you can just see the fuel coming to the carb now, so one more little prime. Got a funky sound. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just this clutch rattling around. Hard to tell without a chain on it. I can start it back up and lock that. Let me try that, see if it goes away. Hey, we'll see what happens with this thing. Let me finish getting this top end back together here, and I guess I could run this sprocket drive just to try the saw out, but yeah, I'd like to get it tuned in and see what it'll do. Seems pretty snappy. We'll see. I don't know how it's going to be cutting with one of these. I've never cut with a 362. I think they're very similar, if not exactly the same specs as a 365. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. Somebody already commented and asked, you know, basically when I get the two of these finished, about putting them side by side and doing some cutting with them, which I will do once I go through the other one. But yeah, so far so good. I do want to make a pipe for that, so all right, I'm gonna finish putting the top cover on this, and we'll see what it'll do. Thanks for watching.